$40,000, 91,000 miles.
And again, Barry, you got it, sure?
You borrow mine?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's the only one I got.
Where is it?
Borrowed. I've already written.
You did?
Unless I have to make it.
Oh, no doubt. Tony is traveling with his son in Nebraska,
The only thing was
recruiting,
a little bit.
all that good stuff.
Figure out.
Iowa, Nebraska. And Rick, Linda's not doing well.
One, I was worried about and to go through this.
Here's the crowd.
There's no opposition.
That was one concern.
It'll be the next one.
Like,
Oh.
see this connection? Like people.
So the swamp out is
Looks like a driveway.
one free pass.
A cul-de-sac with a driveway.
That's what I was going to driveway.
So you get one free.
It's almost the same width, and I was just worried about
One free pass. I don't have to come over here.
wanting to go all the way back.
Well, that,
I used all my good lives.
that one might take
Parking lot.
I just thought it was.
And then,
There it is.
but then the other thing I
Oh,
thought
man. Hard.
Mayor, we're ready.
was with the green space here, and move this one over.
Mayor, we're,
You know, and then this way, they get it on this side, it's pointing this way.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our last meeting of July. And we have a few people in our audience today. We have a special recognition later on in our program for someone who's very special to us. I'll call us to order. The invocation will be given by Councilman Matt Harbin, and respects to flags will be led by Council Member Beatrice Thompson. Please rise.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for blessing us and allowing us to live in freedom. I pray for our city staff, police, fire, and workers, that you would bless them and keep them safe and help them make wise decisions that are pleasing to you. I pray for our team member, Larry Morris, that you will continue to bless him, and we are thankful for his service to our citizens. I pray for our police chief, Stewart, and his family, that you would comfort them on the loss of his father and previous council member, Jim Stewart. And please bless this meeting and allow our decisions that we make tonight to be pleasing in your eye. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I mentioned earlier in my comments that we do have a special recognition, and we have a few people in the audience. And I'm going to ask our teammate, Larry Morris, to come down with us, and Ken Mullinets to come down. And while they're making their way down, I just want to say publicly that Dr. Thompson and I were just talking that Larry's been on board as long as Dr. Thompson, and but that's a testament of the longevity of people who work here and the work that they do, and it's always hard to replace people like Larry. Come on up, guys. Our presentation to Larry is a plaque, and and I'm gonna read it. It says, presented to Larry Morris in appreciation for 30 years of loyal and dedicated service to the city of Anderson. And it's Anderson City Council, July 26th of 2021. And I think that deserves a round of applause. And I want to ask Ken Molinatz, Ken, could you just say a few words and tell everybody about Larry, and then we'll let Larry have the mic for a second.
It'd probably be better if I let Larry tell you about Larry, because Larry can do it. But I want to say this, that I've been over in the Public Works Department for the last 3 years, been with the city for 24 years, and I'm going to miss Larry Morris's smiling face every day. It hadn't changed one bit since we got to Public Works, and we've had a lot of struggles, a lot of work orders, a lot of things that y'all just don't know. Larry has to turn on a dime. He'll come in, he gets his men set up, and you get a work order, and we got to go somewhere else. And that's generally the way his day goes. But Larry does it with a smile. He's always does it with pride in his heart. And I couldn't ask for a better department head when it comes to his attitude. I told Larry last week, I said, you can look back at this city and see your footprints all over this city. From the sidewalk projects that he's done, to the stormwater projects, to the potholes that's been patched, to getting up in the middle of the night and removing a tree that's blocked somebody's way from getting out of their driveway or getting down the road. And that takes a lot of, Larry has done that for 30 years. I mean, and just really enjoyed spending time with Larry. Appreciate the good work, hard work. Appreciate his family. I know we've talked a lot about this lately. You know, I'm a grandpapa now too, so I got a little bit of pride that goes with that. But I know Larry's looking so forward to spending time with Beverly, with his grandson, his new granddaughter, and I know he's looking forward to that time with them. But Larry, we love you, we appreciate you, and appreciate all the hard work. And as one council member said on the way in this evening, we're losing a good one. But we know where you live. And we will call on you. Appreciate you, brother.
I know y'all have a lot of business to take care of. But it goes to Psalm 118. I'm always thankful for the love that God has shown towards me. Psalm 118 says, His love always endure forever. So that's what's in my heart every morning. That the love that I have for the city, I came to work with it. And I shared it with each man that I supervise. And to see those men every morning, to let them know that they have a job for their family, to provide for their family, to work, that I was there for them. So Psalm 118 said, endure the love that is everlasting for you. So you can go to 118 and you can read it just for the line out. But it's love and endure that I had in my heart for the city. And I thank my family for coming, my wife, my sister, my niece, my friends, all up there, my grandson. And it makes me feel good to know they support me just like I support the city. And I want to say this little joke right here. I came last Friday, the little birthday thing, not birthday, we all did that. That my retirement, see, I just had a birthday last Friday. So that's how I slip over. That I had the first cap that the city gave me. The first cap. And they kept looking at it and I said, look, this is the beginning of the time. And this cap here is at the end of the time for me now. And the shoes that I got on, Chief, James Brock, one of the late police officers that worked for the city, I think, for 38 years. He said, I'm going out, but you coming in, I want you to take these shoes and walk the street just like I did. Calhoun Street, all the way down to McDougall Street. These are shoes. These are shoes that he gave me 30-something years ago. I don't know who I'm gonna give them to. I don't know who I'm gonna get the shoes to have, but you know, if anybody wants to feel it, I'd be glad to pass it on.
Love you.
My man.
Appreciate you. Nice to meet you. Yes, sir. My man. I enjoy seeing you every day. Yes, sir. Here you go. Congratulations. We're gonna miss you. You're a good man. Congratulations. Thank you, Andrew. That's a good story.
That's a good story.
I want everybody to know I love
You always come back.
Oh, I know. It's, you can tell
Mayor,
Yes.
one night I was,
he enjoys it.
I don't know, if it was middle of the night, I was
Probably
heading
doesn't
out
want to retire.
coming in, I can't remember the
Wants
call.
to for his family.
Deal, 2, 3 in the morning, Benedict storm that night. He was out by himself in the middle of Murray Avenue, cutting up a tree. He said, driving rain, I think, so he said he didn't want anybody to hit it. He's by himself.
That's crazy.
Messed up.
Yeah.
Quit.
Gotta bring a tear to your eyes.
It's good, man.
Okay. The minutes of the July 12th meeting were distributed. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Not hearing any, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
First by Dr. Thompson. Second by Mr. Newton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those meetings of July 12th passed unanimously. We have two items of old business, and the first item is request second reading of ordinance 2113 to annex and zone to a PDD, a planned development district approximately 323 acres located off of Williamson Road near the intersection of US 29 bypass. Mr. McEwen.
Mayor and Council, this item originally came before the City Council on May the 24th. It's a PDD document. Council approved first reading on July the 12th, and it's here on second reading before you for annexation and zoning into the city limits. Mr. Maurice McKenzie will go over the details.
Thank you. Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, thank you. As City Manager mentioned, this is coming before you at your May 24th meeting initially. At that meeting, you decided to continue it, to get more information. During that time, the applicant did go back, refine the elements of the PDD document and the drawings for the proposed layout of the subdivision. Came back to you on July 12th. You did approve it on first reading. But at that meeting, there were two more refinements that you requested to be considered by the applicant. And so those items really were three of them. One was specifics regarding the DOT's requirement to have deceleration and left turn lanes off of US 29. That was included in the traffic impact study, but you wanted that to be included in the document just to make sure that would be followed. Also, we're interested in seeing some left and right turn lanes for egress out onto Williamston Road and also Plantation Road. And one other item, which we've been discussing with other developments as of late, was to include some streets or green spaces at approximately 10 lot intervals in order to break up and minimize long straight stretches of lots, which can sometimes happen when you're dealing with subdivision, particularly in a large piece of property like this, being 323 acres. In the revised PDD document that's in your package, the first two items regarding the DOT's requirement for deceleration lanes, the left turn right lanes out of the subdivisions, those are specifically addressed. And although there's no specific language in the PDD document regarding the third bullet item that you had, which was including some green spaces or streets to break up in 10 lot intervals, most of it is basically accomplished with other elements. They have 25-foot wide and 35-foot wide green spaces to provide for sewer and stormwater. As we've discussed in the past, we added at T intersections some green space to provide a break so there's no headlights shining into houses. With that, also with the fact that there are some street intersections coming in several areas of the subdivision, and also the fact that many of these streets have a curvature to them, so you don't have that long straight effect as much. So although it's not included specifically, many of the items that are naturally occurring in the subdivision plan do help meet those guidelines. But those were the main things that can be for the applicant after the July 12th meeting when you approved it on first reading. And I talked about these items in the past, but just a couple of highlights. We're talking about a maximum of 620 lots in 6 development phases, 168 acres, 323 are not to be developed. A lot of it is in the floodplain. They are including a wide variety of lots, lot sizes in the subdivision. Some of the lots have a minimum width of 47 feet. Some have a minimum of 57 feet. They're looking to construct amenities such as clubhouse, swimming pool, 3 to 5 bedroom houses, 2 trees per lot, 1 providing a street tree effect. Also, land clearance disturbance shall be limited to construction, like the building of the lots, roads, infrastructure, things of that nature. And of course, back in January, you did approve some guidelines regarding single-family construction. We wanted to include this in this document as well. But all single-family houses shall have a finished floor elevation, a minimum of 12 inches above adjacent grade. And again, this came before you on July 12th, and you approved it on first reading. So this is coming to you tonight for second reading. And we feel like with all the revisions and refinements that have been made since May, we've come a long way. And with the few items that were addressed most recently, we feel like many of your concerns should be answered. But again, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask me. Also, the applicant, Paul Harrison, who's representing the developer, who's in attendance as well.
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. Any questions, comments? Ms. Chapman, then Mr. Roberts.
So agreeably, I think the developers made great strides in trying to accommodate some of the things that the council has requested. I just had a couple of concerns. One being the connector road that leads to the back of the parking around the, I guess, the subdivision common building or vent space or whatever it's going to be used for. There's about 60 to 70 homes on the opposite side of that road, and what I'm a little concerned that we may have people trying to take a shortcut through the parking lot that's maybe 100 yards versus having to go up and around and back down through the front. See what I'm talking about? Maybe more from a safety concern of people, residents want to use that for access to get to the shortcut of the exit. That's one item, if they can address that. And then the other, the 2 trees that are to be planted per lot, are those going to be hardwoods? Or are they going to be some type of, or, you know, is a tree considered a crepe myrtle, you know, or,
I need to look in the language, and forgive me, let me check real quick, but let me see what the specific language says. Sometimes this will take me a minute. Okay, it says, all single-family residential detached lots will require 2 trees to be planted per lot. The trees will be planted at the time of construction of the home. The front yard tree will be planted near the front property piece to provide a street tree appearance along the public roads. It continues on. The specific side that says trees of planting, they'll have a minimum caliper of 2.5 inches, measured at a height of 6 inches above ground. And it says front yard trees shall be shade trees such as oaks and maple. So that's your answer there.
okay. All right, and then the last one was the, thought they did a good job of trying to tie into some of the suggestions about the T intersections, but there's a few of them that aren't in alignment with the street itself. If they could maybe address that a little bit.
Okay. If you'd like, I'd turn it over to Paul.
That's fine.
Don, you want to talk about the contract?
Yeah, that'd be
Paul,
fine.
Paul, yes.
There's another statement.
Thank you, sir. My name is Paul Harrison, 718 Lowndes Hill Road, Greenville, South Carolina, 29607. See if I remember all of these. I think the one of your comments was referring to, and I think it's a valid comment about potentially the amenity center parking lot being a cut through. We could fix that by removing that connection to the cul-de-sac on the opposite side.
Or maybe just a walkthrough. I think Mr. Roberts had
Maybe we
mentioned.
could just do pedestrian path through there.
Yeah.
Was trying to just have an avenue for everybody on the, I guess on the western side to have a clean access back to the amenity center without having to drive all the way around to the front again. But I do see your point about, you know, there's a potential, especially if you live in that cul-de-sac. The easiest path is basically just to fly through the amenity center, and that could be dangerous if you got kids out there. And so maybe we remove that, and maybe that just becomes a nice 8-foot, 10-foot sidewalk, pedestrian walkway. Maybe people can use it, golf carts or something like that to take their family over there or something. We can clean that up. I do agree with that, though. So we can remove that.
And you don't have to, but Mr. Roberts said that maybe, because we thought at first it was a pedestrian access, but then we realized how wide it is. It's vehicular traffic.
That's vehicular traffic
Yeah.
into the backside to give those people a faster means to get. But maybe that gets converted into more of a sidewalk or something else.
Okay.
I don't know. Could put signage up. You know, I don't think people listen to signs nowadays. I mean, the last thing we would want is somebody flying through there, cutting through,
Right, hitting a
into
child.
their house, and a child's coming out of their car, racing over to the pool, and that could be a problem. So I do agree with that.
Alrighty.
So we can alter that. Can we make can we just, that be a condition that
Yeah.
we work that out with staff? We
Absolutely.
recognize that as an issue. The improvement, let's see, the other question was
Trees.
street trees, and I
He
think
answered
that
that.
clarifies that about our envision is shade trees. The two trees we're planting are both shade trees, oak trees. And then the third one was, the
green ones.
at the T intersections.
Yeah.
You know, we've done the best we could to line those up. They don't always match up perfectly, but they are pretty close to the lane in which the car would be stopping. The car that's gonna be producing the light itself, it is closer to that right lane as opposed to the left lane, or even centered right up on it. In doing our final design and everything, we can work to maybe clean those up a little more, but we wanted to line it up on the right lane, not necessarily line it up right on the section itself.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Mr. Roberts?
Paul, I am largely pleased with the changes that have been made, and I hope you found that these were positive suggestions. And I love the layout. I do have a couple of comments. My initial intention was to have a more aggressive mixing of lots rather than grouping lots. And one thing this does is just gives more variety, more variation, instead of rows of the same thing. I would like to adhere to that 10-lot approximate interval, and I would really like to see it written into the document. And that can be achieved by just simply swapping a bigger lot with a smaller lot or two, or several. It looks like I've counted some that stretch out as many as 27 lots without a break. My brother, I'm gonna give him credit for this. He mentions when everybody gets up in the morning, they get their dog and they take it for a walk. Well, guess what the dog is gonna do about every 10-lot intervals? So if there's no break, it just goes on for a continuation is probably too long in my opinion. So I would like to see that actually written into the document, adhere to that 10-lot interval.
Are you referring to like are you referring to an open space strip every 10 lots?
Yes, sir, I am.
I mean, I think that's overkill in my opinion. I mean, we have, if you count up all of the connections to open space, we have approximately 15 or 20 outlets or conveyances to open space. I mean, you don't want people walking in between houses every 10 feet. Late at night, I'm walking down a 10-foot strip in between, or a 20-foot strip in between two houses to get to the open space. You want to limit those opportunities.
I understand that.
A lot of times people ask for, well, when lots back up to each other, I want 20 foot of open space so people can use that. It has pros, but the cons outweigh the pros. Number one, it's got to be maintained by somebody. It's got to look pleasant. You don't want something that gets overgrown. And then you invite people to walk in between houses early in the morning, late at night, and it presents problems. I think you want to limit those.
Have you experienced
You
that
want to,
in other developments?
I've been at several planning commission meetings when we were introducing those, and we actually had people in the audience that were speaking in opposition, and they spoke in opposition and said, I don't want somebody being able to walk behind my house at night or in the morning, and I have to worry about closing my windows on the back side of my house, the side of my house, and this and that. So it has become a problem with builders because they've experienced from opposition from their clientele.
I agree that you have ample green space. Our goal is to limit those long stretches. And that can be achieved in a number of ways. Maybe it's not a walkthrough. Maybe it's a heavily landscaped where you can't walk through. I'm just giving you an example. Another point, I'm going to move on. Where Highway Business 29 and Bypass tee up, it's a skewed intersection. Can we have there and at Plantation Road, we beef up the buffer zones there to essentially, again, prevent the traffic from just shining lights directly into those homes. Those are two, particularly Business 29 and Bypass, a very busy intersection. Very busy. Plantation Road, lesser so.
I think we'll have ample landscaping along 29 just to buffer 29 itself. I think that those features that will buffer 29 will also buffer those two intersections.
Where is, Mr. McKenzie, the level of buffering? What is, give me the rundown on that level of buffering.
Yes, sir. Per the proposed PDD document, the exterior landscaping, it says that exterior boundaries of each tract shall maintain a landscape buffer meeting the L1 buffer requirements of the City of Anderson zoning ordinance. And not knowing what L1 is, specifically what that is 1 tree per 30 feet and 1 shrub per 12 feet. And then we also encourage utilizing existing undisturbed vegetation just because it may be more mature. That's written into this. And it also goes into about trees at planting being that 2.5 inch caliper at 6 inches above ground.
Okay. In my estimation, a tree every 30 feet is not enough. Shrubs every 12 feet. Again, not enough. I'm just asking you to intensify that buffering where those intersections occur.
Yeah, I think that is not a problem. I don't necessarily agree with, I don't think it's a good idea to do the first thing, and I'm not going to sit here and commit to that. I wish my client was here, but I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think they would think that's a good idea, but I don't mind doing the buffering for those two streets just to make sure that light pollution doesn't get past that intersection and it's shining in on those residential lots that line up with that.
I won't stand in the way on the 10 lot intervals. I think I have a different opinion than you do on that.
Thank you. Anything else? So what I'm hearing is that we have an agreement on the cut through at the clubhouse and intensifying the buffering on 29 and Plantation Road.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you would, if council's interested, make a motion conditional upon those two items. When you make your motion.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we approve this on second reading with the stipulation of increasing the buffering on Highway 29 and Plantation Drive, and also making the access from the cul-de-sac a pedestrian golf cart to the clubhouse area.
Have a first. Second. From Mr. Harper and a second from Mr. Newton. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously on the second and final reading. Our next item is request second reading of ordinance 2112, amending the 2020-2021 annual budget. Mr. McEwen.
Again, this comes to you on second reading as part of the accounting procedure to amend the budget to reflect expenses that occurred throughout the year as approved by council and change things in the budget. Ms. Martin, our finance director, will go over the details and recap this for you.
Yes, so we are requesting approval of ordinance 2112, amending the 2020-2021 annual budget. And as Mr. McEwen said, this comes back on second reading. This budget amendment allows the budget and audit to more accurately reflect actual revenues received and expenditures made that were unknown when the budget was originally adopted. This year's amendments include several items carried over from the prior year, including the City Hall and Municipal Business Center roof projects, purchase of police vehicles and fire safety house, as well as the fire department's fire exhaust system. The amendment also includes transit, FEMA, and brownfield grants, and the detailed ordinance was attached. So we are requesting approval of ordinance 2112, amending the 21 annual budget on second reading.
Thank you, Ms. Morton. We talked a little bit about the amendments at the last meeting. Are there any other comments? Not hearing any, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
First by Mr. Newton, second by Mr. John Roberts. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously on the second and final reading.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a couple items of new business. The first one is request consideration of a referral to the Planning Commission, a petition to rezone 400 East River Street from NC Neighborhood Commercial to GC General Commercial. Mr. McEwen.
Okay, Mr. Maurice McKenzie. Carl?
Yes, sir. Again, this is a request for referral to the Planning Commission. The next meeting is August 3rd. And to be specific about the request, the property right now is known NC Neighborhood Commercial. It's a small strip shopping center at the intersection of East River and South Fayette Street. And one of the spaces in this small strip center is a convenience store. The applicant wishes to rezone the entire shopping center. He is the owner of the property as well to general commercial in order to allow more uses in on this site. Specifically, they would like to operate a U-Haul rental company as part of their business for the convenience store. In the NC Neighborhood Commercial District, that is not allowed. In GC General Commercial, you can have your automobile, truck, and trailer rentals, things like that. So that's the reason for the request. Again, this is a referral. The next Planning Commission is a week from tomorrow, August 3rd.
Thank you. This is a referral to Planning Commission. We'll see it again, but does anyone have any questions at this point?
Mayor, I move we refer to the Planning Commission.
Have a first by Mr. Jeff Roberts, second by Dr. Thompson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Our last item of new business is request consideration to purchase vehicles for the police department. Mr. McKenzie.
City Council, as per budget, in the capital equipment fund, this is purchase of police vehicles to add and replace vehicles within the police department fleet. We've done a very good job, really over five to 6 years, really catching up with the police department fleet, and you can notice that very easily by seeing what white cars are still out there, which black cars are out there, and then the change in the models as well. So you can see that there's been a big changeover over the last, drastically over the last 3 years, and we're doing a good job there. Also keep in mind that while this is budgeted out of the capital equipment fund, we also have some other different funds that we're able to purchase vehicles for the police department from, and that involves some DEA funds, some other confiscated funds that we're able to purchase for, and some detention funds. And so from time to time, we have some single vehicle purchases, or we'll have 2 or 3 that come throughout the year as well that we're able to acquire in addition to what's budgeted out of the capital equipment fund. With that, Chief Jim Stewart will go over his purchase requests. Mr. Stewart.
Yes, sir. Basically, this year, coming out of the capital equipment, the request is for 5 Dodge Chargers V8. The Dodge Corporation last year switched. The V6 is now an all-wheel drive car and more expensive than the V8 Hemi. We purchased 4 V8 Hemis last year, and they're done a really good job for us. So this year, we're going to stick with that. The Hemi V8 is actually cheap. Under state contract, so that would give us that option to purchase more. These will be marked patrol cars, fully equipped with printers, laptops, cages, siren, all emergency equipment, AR-15 racks. The other vehicle is a Ford F-150 extended cab. That will be for forensics. You've seen pretty much what SLED uses forensics. It'll be one that has a pull-out drawer in the back, and it'll have a metal cab over on the back, be an unmarked vehicle, so it won't be displayed for the public to know what that actually is. But that would be very sufficient for us to, for forensic purposes, rather than a Durango. It'll have a lot more room for equipment.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions of the Chief? Mr. Harvey?
I saw these five Chargers. When will be delivery of both the vehicles? Because I understand there's a shortage in vehicles. Is there any idea of when you may actually get to obtain these?
I don't have the exact date, but Performance Dodge has been a strong partner with us. This is about the third time. They're actually in North Carolina, but they hold the South Carolina contract. So our salesperson, that is our contact person, reached out to us at the end of May. We told them what we would need, so they went ahead and ordered those. So basically, if we did purchase them, they would sell them, but right now they're spoken for, those 5 Chargers. So they should be here sooner than later than they were last year.
And I'll say one thing we've done a good job in the last 3 years recognizing this is the big competition to get these Chargers. The state of South Carolina will put in for 400 of these things, and competing against other cities, and Greenville County, probably the next largest in line, is right when the fiscal year starts. Put this before you so we can get the approval and get in line first for these purchases. And so if it's approved tonight, we'll sign the PO and go ahead and send that to them tomorrow morning.
With that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve these.
Good. First by Mr. Harvey, second by Mr. Chapman. Any further discussion? Mr. Chapman?
The vehicles that once we get those, are we going to have any of them roll off? What Mr. McEwen had said, we're rolling off the old vehicles, or are we increasing some of our officers, and those are going to be used for that?
We will start removing vehicles. Unfortunately, so this past year, high mileage on some of our Crown Vics that are 2006, 2007, we've lost 3 vehicles already just due to engine malfunction, high mileage. And it is just not cost efficient to replace those with a motor because the cars are wore out. So we will basically look, this is 6, so we're going to look at 3 more that we can deadline and take off the road.
Okay, and just one comment. We appreciate everything y'all are doing because, as I've always said, I think policing is paramount to everything we do.
Yes, sir.
So, thank you.
Any other comments, discussion? I have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Chief. Our last item is an executive section, and the executive section, section 30-4A 70A5, which is discussion of matters relating to a proposed location, expansion, or provision of service encouraging economic development. So I would entertain a motion to go in executive session. First by Dr. Thompson.
Second.
Second by Mr. John Roberts. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We stand in executive session. I'd entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
First by Mr. Chapman, second by Mr. Harmon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are out of executive session. In executive session, the management team gave an update on proposed location expansion and services for economic development. At this time, there's no action to be taken. We asked them to do a deeper dive into this particular matter. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, before I make a motion, I do want to give a quick shout out to the staff and also the Market Theater. I've heard great reviews about Mamma Mia. I've heard from a ton of people. My wife and I, we went Thursday night. It was packed. Luckily, a great CFO helped protect my chairs while I was going to go get something to eat, so that was much appreciated. But I mean, really, I've heard great reviews. I know there was a ton of people in attendance. I think it was really good for downtown. I think people were excited to kind of be back out. So I just want to, pass that along with y'all. With that, I'll make the motion to adjourn.
First by Ms. Newton. Second by Mr. Harmon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.